In this video, I show you how I migrated from my very first bullet journal into this bright blue beauty. But before opening this one, let's have a look into the setup of my old journal to see better what I have changed up and why. But before we get into it, leave a like to help fight the algorithm. It is much appreciated. My old journal started with a dashboard page. This was a pocket that I created by gluing two papers together. And at the same time, it was a sort of blackboard for sticky notes. The idea was good, but the pocket was a little difficult to access, so I didn't use it that much. The next double spread is sort of a continuation of my dashboard, and this is where I always have a bunch of short-term lists and notes. But for the new journal, I would like to reduce the entire dashboard section to just one double spread. Behind this flag, I hide secret or sensitive information. This is my birthday calendar. That is a very useful spread. And of course, the future log. The goals page is also a classic for Bujo setups, but in the end it became a very passive page that didn't really help me to accomplish these goals. Instead, it became more of a brain dump, so I decided not to migrate this page into my new journal. A page that I have been better at using is the workout tracker, even though I misspelled the header. As you can see, I was rather inconsistent than consistent with my workouts, but at least I used it partially. Next, I had a whole section for idea lists that I put together, separated with a Dutch door from all the other collections, such as books and movies that were either recommended to me or that I wanted to read or watch. As you can see, I did not make very efficient use of the room, so for my new journal, I thought I might pull all the different categories of recommendations together to a single spread. Then we have a wish list and a collection for gift ideas, only that the headers are written in German, activities and travel destinations with a flap that I never used, some ideas or hacks or tricks or products that would help me to achieve a more ecological lifestyle. And then I had the idea of having a list with different meals or recipes that I could resort to whenever I wouldn't know what to cook. But of course, this only works if you actually fill in a bunch of recipes that you could then choose from. So these both lists will not make it into my new journal. Then I had some room for stuff I wanted to buy and just a list for miscellaneous and another double spread for general notes. This spread, however, did not make any sense at all. And over the course of the last year, I figured out how I could organize my notes much better in my weekly and daily sections, so I don't need this general notes page in my setup anymore. For my new bullet journal, I chose another Leuchtturm notebook. This one is from a special edition with this beautiful embossing at the top. It says Sehnsucht, which is German for desire or longing, and it is a very beautiful word. The notebook even came with a little explanatory text that reads like this: Sehnsucht, the hunger that no food satisfies, the thirst that no beverage quenches, the fire that resists extinguishing, sometimes great, often uncontrollable, at times unfulfilled, burning with it, heartbeats, high hopes, wishes upon stars, red roses, purple prose, poetry in motion, share your most secret desires. Originally, I wanted a different notebook with the term Wanderlust on it, but that one was not available. In the end, however, I think Sehnsucht was a much more fitting term for the present we live in right now, where we cannot wander about the world, but only long for it. I chose a Leuchtturm mainly because of the many pages that it has. Due to the thin paper, 251 pages fit into the book, which is just enough for 1 year of bullet journaling for me. The notebook comes with a few extras that many journals have nowadays, such as a very useful pocket in the back, less useful stickers, as well as 2 bookmarks that are very essential to me. And in the front, there is a double spread reserved for an index. Other reasons why I chose this journal was the sturdy and quite stain-resistant cover and the fact that the pages are cream-colored. I like how that looks, but I also hope that the production of this paper did not involve as many chemicals as white bleached paper requires. I try to care about the environmental sustainability of the products that I use, but I have not found a notebook brand that is truly transparent regarding this matter. Dingbutts claims to produce green notebooks, but I found no details on their website that satisfied me in any way. Besides the origin of the wood for the paper, I know that the use of water and chemicals matter as well, and probably other factors that I am ignorant about. From a brand that is outspokenly green, I would expect that they inform their customers about these things on their website. I start the setup with a dashboard similar to my old journal, only that this time I used just one double-sided spread for this, and I made a better pocket. I don't need a key page because I already internalized my symbols, and I also don't create a title page or quote pages or so. I guess they just don't fulfill any function for me. To make the dashboard look nice, I cut up some pretty papers to glue them on. For the pocket that I create by simply gluing 2 pages together, I cut down the front page this time, which makes the pocket much more accessible and easier to use than the one that I had in my old setup. This dashboard spread was inspired by Ella the Bee. I'll link her video below for those of you who are interested and understand German. But the idea is pretty simple. It is a general command center with a board for sticky notes and a paper pocket for storage. So this is where daily memos, lists for grocery shopping, or other spontaneous or temporary things go. The pocket is good for tickets or receipts or other physical things that make their way to you in the course of the day and need to be stored. For me, it's especially handy when I don't want to carry my wallet. I use washi tape to close the pocket, which is easy and definitely will not loosen or open up. Finally, I create a little flap from a paper scrap. Behind this one, I can hide sensitive notes, such as medical information or an account number. I actually set up my new journal back in September because I like to follow the academic calendar. But I have not had the time to edit it, and I thought bullet journal setups can always be inspiring no matter what time of the year we have. Plus, right now, we're basically in the late Bujo setup season. Next up is the future log. As I set this up back in September, the future log encompasses 2020 and 2021. 3 months fit on one page, so I divide each page into 3 horizontal sections. I always have the impression that I can fit more into a horizontal than into a vertical layout. And each section gets its own little header for the month, starting with September when I started the journal. And that's it. I don't include mini calendars here because I use the future log extensively and cannot spare the room. Speaking of mini calendars, there is another popular spread that I don't use, which is the year at a glance, where people write out the entire year basically in mini calendars. I always admire the diligence of people who create this type of spread, but I'm clearly too lazy for it, and most importantly, I never came into a situation where I needed such a spread and didn't have it. Even though I need 2 double spreads for all 12 months, I still want a layout that shows that all 4 pages sort of belong together, and at the same time clearly separates them from other collections. And that I achieve with a Dutch door that has the effect that all 4 pages share the same header. I finish up the future log with a simple border and then continue with a birthday calendar. For this spread, I use the same technique. Again, I need to fit 12 months onto 4 pages and use a Dutch door to create a shared header for all of them. To center the header well, I start stamping the letters from the center. This works very well, but it bears the danger of misspelling the word, which is why I always have the word written out right next to me for reference. But maybe you guys don't need a trick like that. Most of my headers are in English, and now even my daily entries are mainly English with just a few German words intermixed here and there. But for the birthday calendar, I kept the header in German just because I find the German word Geburtstagskalender is a little more beautiful than the English equivalent. The term birthday just seems a little overused and worn out to me. In my last journal, this spread has proven to be most valuable. Throughout the year, I regularly came back to it, and it helped me a lot. That's why I transfer it into the new journal, and I also stick to the layout with the circular calendars. I use these plain calendar stickers from Planning with K. I linked them down below for you, but unfortunately I only had 6 of them left. So I can only show you how I set up September through January. But the remaining month will be set up in the exact same way anyways, so you will still get a clear idea of how the spread is supposed to look like. The monthly headers go into the center of the circles, so that the surrounding room is free to write in the birthdays. Again, I use plain monthly header stickers from Planning with K. They are a bit faster than hand lettering every month. The circular calendar doesn't only look cool, at least in my opinion, it is also useful. It allows me to add new names without worrying about any order or not having enough space for it. I just write down a name wherever I can find room and then connect it to the right date with a line like so. Next to the name, I also always note the year of birth. Now, let's turn to the annual collection pages. I generally like to sort of unite collections that thematically belong together, making them look cohesive. Again, my go-to strategy for this are Dutch doors. This time, I cut down the sides. Had I more than just 2 collections, I also would add some tabs at the side, like I usually do for my weeklies. The name of this thematical collection combo is Body and Health. The stamped header at the side will show up on both spreads related to Body and Health. This first one is my medical log. I got inspired by the When Did I Last spread, where you log down the date of when you did X or Y for later reference. The one thing that always escapes me is when I saw which doctor, so I decided to try out a When Did I Last page as a medical log where I can track different doctors that I regularly see. The gynecologist, dentist, orthopedist, and general doctor. Then a line to track vaccines that I receive, because I have not only troubles remembering when I got a shot, but also what type of vaccine it was. And a row for general medical notes. For example, I ended up filling in which hereditary illnesses there are in my family. Another information that is good to know, but hard to remember. So I just write into the table at what date I saw the doctor last, why I went, and of course the results such as diagnosis, things like whether an X-ray has been made, what medication I have received and whether it has been effective, or, for example, how my vision stats have changed, because people, I'm pretty blind. And of course, when the follow-up appointment will be, if there is any. With a stroke, I will then separate one entry from the other. Retrospectively, maybe it would have made sense to use a vertical layout here. And let me tell you, 5 months into the journal, I have used the medical log extensively and nearly filled it all up already. This spread is extremely useful, and next time I will probably allot more room to it. The second collection of my body and health combo is my workout and weight log. In my old journal, I used these mini calendar stickers, also linked below, and I actually enjoyed the layout, so I decided to reproduce it. The idea is to just color in each day that I actually worked out with different colors for cardio or muscular training or hikes. While keeping the mini calendars, I change up the weight graph. Last year, I recorded my weight in kilograms, but living in the US, my scale gives me pounds. So I had to convert the numbers each time and squeeze both units, pounds and kilograms, into the graph, which made it look quite cluttered. Let me disclaim that I truly believe in the metric system and that I suffer enormously from the absence of norm measurements in this country, but To make my life easier, I decided to give in to the LBs. Like this, I only have to make a little cross at the right number of the y-axis. The x-axis represents time. Each month, I will weigh myself twice, roughly at the beginning and the middle of the month. Weighing myself bi-weekly instead of weekly also makes the graph much smaller and easier to handle. Frankly, I am not the most enthusiastic person when it comes to workouts, but quarantine has just increased the need to do them. Not moving like I normally do in everyday life when I go out to work and live made me so weak that stairs had become a problem 6 months into quarantine. So I kept the workout log and try to be better at it. Coloring in the days when I worked out actually motivates me at least a little bit. Finally, I decided to fill in the empty space in the center with a key for the colors of the different workouts. But I didn't choose the colors yet. I even ended up changing running into hikes. The next collection combo is for different idea spreads. That's why I call it idea collections. On the first double spread, I intend to note things that people recommended to me in 4 categories: books, movies, including series, activities, and other. In my last journal, I had separate pages for each of these categories, but didn't need that much space. 4 on one page seems more reasonable. Again, I center the header by starting in the middle of the word. Now you can watch me messing up. First, I misspelled recommendations, and then I fixed it wrong and turned the wrong E into an O. Before I can fix it back, I need to let the white gel pen dry, but in the end, I think the mistake is not too apparent. I cut down my list from my old journal setup a lot. Ideas for more ecological life, for cooking recipes or travel destinations, for example, will not be migrated into this journal, but I did stick to the wish list and the gift idea collection. Whenever I have an idea what to gift to someone, I will write it down here, and when Christmas or a birthday approaches, I can just check my journal. The same thing if someone, usually my mom, asks me what I would like to have for my birthday or so. This is usually an overwhelming question to which I never know the answer spontaneously, so it's nice to have this list to resort to in these moments. Thematically, I now set up a finance-related combo, but this one will only be 1 double spread, so no Dutch door this time. I typically have a spending tracker for day-to-day spendings in my monthly setups, but I want to have a place where I can list all recurring costs that I have, such as rent or subscriptions. I can add things to this list as I go on, and I also hope that it will help me to cancel things I easily forget, like annually paid subscriptions, in time. Next to that, I put a page where I can write down things I want to buy. Instead of getting them immediately, I want to give myself the opportunity to think about it for some time before I actually buy them or not. The German part of the header, brauche ich's wirklich, means, do I really need it? I always try not to consume too much or not to accumulate too much clutter. In general, I always, and probably unsuccessfully most of the time, try to follow a more conscious and eco-friendly lifestyle, and thinking twice before buying surely helps with that. The last spread of the setup will be a year in pictures, only that I call it Photographarium, similar to a herbarium. Now that I have a pocket photo printer, I am super excited to use it, and that means a lot because I don't get excited easily. But I do like to look back, to become nostalgic, and to remember. The Photographarium will be organized like a herbarium. First, the object, the picture in this case, will be glued onto the paper. Then, the scientific data will be added. Definition of the plant or image that you see, place and time of collection, or in this case, when and where the image was shot, and the name of the collector, so the person who shot the picture. And the setup is finally finished. I hope you enjoyed watching it and that you could find some inspiration. And now, enjoy the final flip through.